So you have seen inheritance and polymorphism in action. While inheritance is a great tool for solving the problem of code reuse, you have to be really careful about using it because it can make your source code complex and fragile. So don't use inheritance just for the sake of using it, especially in small projects. As I've always emphasized in all my courses, keep it simple and stupid. Start with simple objects, and then if you see a number of these objects share similar features, then perhaps you can encapsulate those features inside of a generic object and use inheritance. But remember, inheritance is not the only solution to enable code reuse. There is another technique called composition, which you're going to learn about soon. So let's see the problem with inheritance. Here we have this animal object with two methods, eat and walk. And we have two objects that derive from animal, person and dog. Now, tomorrow we're going to introduce a new object called goldfish that derives from animal. Our hierarchy is broken. Why? Because goldfish cannot walk, it can swim. So we got the hierarchy wrong. And this is something that happens quite often, especially amongst inexperienced developers. So, to solve this problem, we need to change our hierarchy. On the top, we should have the animal object with the eat method. Under that, we're going to have two objects, mammal and fish. Mammals can walk, fish can swim. And then we can have person and dog derived from mammal, and goldfish derived from fish. See what happened? As a result of introducing a new kind of animal, that is goldfish, we had to change our hierarchy, and now this hierarchy is more complex than what we had before. Now, what would happen if we had 10 different types of animals? This hierarchy would get more and more complex, and we have to constantly go back and forth to determine the right place to implement a method. So, avoid creating inheritance hierarchies because they're very fragile. If you want to use inheritance, keep it to one level. Do not go more than one level of inheritance. There is a famous saying that says, favor composition over inheritance. With composition, instead of having a complex hierarchy like this, we can compose a few objects together to create a new object. And this technique gives us great flexibility. So, back to our previous example, instead of using inheritance, we can define various features for our animals as independent objects. So we can have three objects like can walk, can eat, and can swim. Each of these objects are plain JavaScript objects with certain properties and methods. Now we want to have a person object, okay? We simply compose can walk and can eat to create a person object. Tomorrow we want to introduce a goldfish. Awesome. We can compose, can eat, and can swim together to produce a goldfish. So we don't have a hierarchy, and we can come up with any combination of these objects to create new objects. In JavaScript, we can use mixins to achieve composition. And that's what you're going to see in the next lecture.